6, 2025. Public input. Public input shall be limited to statements from the public relating to issues with the jurisdiction of the Chelmsford Zoning Board of Appeals that are not currently the subject of a pending public hearing before the Zoning Board of Appeals. Public comment on any pending public hearing shall only be heard during such public hearings and may be limited to 3 minutes' time. There are no administrative reviews. And our first public hearing is 4 Courthouse Lane, Unit 16. Terry Norton, doing business as Bodywise Muscular Therapy, is requesting an after-the-fact special permit under the zoning bylaw, Section 195. Attachment 1, to run a massage therapy business or any other relief deemed necessary. This property is located in the commercial CC zoning district. And what this means is the applicant has been running for several years as a massage parlor, and through an oversight of the town, did not get the proper permitting. So tonight, please approach. Tonight, we'll be trying to remedy that for them.
Mr. Chair, if I may, for just a second, we actually only have 4 board members live right now. I'm waiting for an additional login, because we got confirmation that more board members would be online, and I only have Jamie and Danny. Stephen is supposed to log in as well. Yeah, as is Rod.
And Glenn, I think.
Glenn might be logging in online as well. So I just want to make sure we have a quorum.
So we have 4 sitting members. That would mean that everyone would need to vote in your favor to approve this permit. I don't see any headaches with that. I just want you to be aware that if you had a board of 5, you could have a 4-to-1 vote and still pass. But I don't see any obstruction for you there.
Seems
honestly.
pretty straightforward to me. So like you said, I have been operating at 4 Courthouse Lane for 4 years. In January of 2021, when I found this space to rent, I was going through the state licensure for opening a business, as well as I came to town hall. And I filled out the paperwork that they handed me. I thought everything was well and good.
As it should be.
And I worked there for 4 years, and I came back to renew my business certificate, and you said, uh-oh, you're missing the special permit. So I'm here tonight just to apply for that special permit.
Okay, well, thank you. Is there anything you'd like to add, Jose? Does that cover everything?
No, I just summarize everything.
Great. So I guess I'm going to ask out to Zoom if either of our board members has comment on this application. Danny or Jamie, you're all set?
If you could each unmute yourselves so we can hear you.
I have no questions, Chairman.
Thank you.
I have questions.
Did you say you did have a question, Danny?
No questions.
Thank you. Charlie?
I'm fine.
I'm going to go ahead and read the letters.
We did not receive any departmental concerns, just the standard letter from DPW
Okay.
that you can read in.
I guess I'll read this in out of habit, but it's not necessary, as she's not doing any construction. Regarding 4 Courthouse Lane, Unit 16. Dear members, this office has reviewed the project applications and documents submitted to the DPW on January 29th, 2025, for the following public hearing notice on February 6, 2025. 4 Courthouse Lane, Unit 16, Terry Norton, doing business as Bodywise Muscular Therapy, is requesting an after-the-fact special permit under the zoning bylaw section 195, attachment 1, to run a massage therapy business and any other relief deemed necessary. This property is located in the commercial CC zoning. As a result of this review, this office has the following comments. It is understood that the application does not propose a change in use from the existing of 4 Courthouse Lane or Unit 16, or propose a change in sewer use. The DPW shall monitor and enforce sewer flow limitations and impose penalties for violations thereof in accordance with the town's sewer policy. If there is a change in use or expansion, the applicant should submit necessary floor plans to supplement the sewer allocation calculations. Regarding 4 Courthouse Lane, Unit 16, the Board of Health has no concerns. Regarding 4 Courthouse Lane, Unit 16, the police have no concerns. Regarding 4 Courthouse Lane, Unit 16, The North Chelmsford Water District has no concerns. And that is all the letters I have. Except for the denial letter from Jose, which we've already discussed.
And just so you know, Stephen just joined the Zoom.
Okay.
Stephen is on.
Can I see if Stephen has any questions at this time? Is he muted, unmuted?
Stephen, can you unmute yourself?
Yes, I can.
Thank you.
Good evening. See, I just wanted to find if you had any questions.
Nope.
Great. I'm going to open this up to the audience, and if anyone would like to speak in favor or opposition to this, now is the time. Seeing none,
I'd like to make a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll be looking for a second. Close the public hearing. Jamie,
put
is
it
a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So the public meeting is closed. I think,
Just because we're on Zoom, we have to do a roll call, so everybody
oh,
knows.
that's right. My
Sorry about that.
mistake. So, Jamie, do you vote to close the public hearing?
I affirm yes.
Stephen, do you vote to close the public hearing?
Yes.
Danny, do you vote to close the public hearing?
Yes.
Charlie, do you vote to close the public hearing? And I as well. It's unanimous.
Okay,
I think we can take this up right now.
well, let's do it. I make the motion to approve the special permit at 4 Courthouse Road, Unit 16, for the after-the-fact special permit under zoning bylaw, Section 195, Attachment A, with consideration with the letters written into our meeting.
Chairman, I second the motion.
Second by Jamie. Jamie, all in favor? Oh, I gotta do the roll call.
Yeah.
Jamie, you're in favor?
I am.
Charlie, you're in favor?
Yep.
Danny is in favor?
Yes.
And who's left? Stephen is in favor.
Yes.
I am also in favor. It's unanimous.
5-0.
I'll get back to you with the paperwork, okay?
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Appreciate your patience. Back in the Zoom mode again, too. Yeah, this is all new again. All things we wanted to forget, you can be sure.
All things we wanted to forget.
Regarding 26 Vinyl Square, I'm going to mess up your name, I apologize. Shunzi Lee, doing business as Spa Teo LSZ Enterprises, is requesting an after-the-fact special permit under the zoning bylaw, Section 195, Attachment 1, to run a massage therapy business, and any other relief deemed necessary. This property is located in the commercial CD zoning district. Good evening.
Good evening.
You find yourself, were you able to understand the meeting before?
I just the first time meeting, I English not so good. Just yes.
Okay,
Miss- Mr. Chairman, can I?
Yes, please.
So this is very similar to the one previous. It's after the fact,
Same circumstances.
an oversight, and she applied to rectify the situation under a special permit.
Okay. Thank you. So I guess we'll read the letters as we just did. And this is regarding 26 Vinyl Square. Dear members, this office reviewed the following application, plans, documents submitted to the DPW on January 29th, 2025, and finds the following. It is understood that this application does not propose a change in use from the existing use of 26 Vinyl Square or propose a change in sewer usage. The DPW shall monitor and enforce sewer flow limitations and impose penalties for the violations thereof in accordance with the town's sewer policy. If there's a change in use or expansion, the applicant should submit the necessary floor plans to supplement the sewer allocation calculations. That was from Sheila Joyce, project engineer. I have a letter from the Fire Prevention Office for 26 Vinyl Square with no concerns. I have a letter from the Board of Health for 26 Vinyl Square with no concerns. I have a letter from the Police Department for 26 Vinyl Square with no concerns. And a letter from the North Chelmsford Water District with no concerns. I have the original denial letter from the building inspector, which has already been entered. Are there any questions from the board at this time, including Zoom?
Nope.
I have no questions, Chairman.
I have no questions.
Thank you. Charlie?
Same as the last one.
Okay, we're going to send this out into the audience again. If someone has concerns or objections, now is the time.
No objections, I'm just gonna say I'm the owner of the building. She owns the business.
Okay, I
Never
mean,
any
if-
trouble, she's very good.
I don't want to drag you up there, but if you're going to talk, you really need to be at the podium for the rest of the committee. So maybe less is more in this case.
Oh, you want
You,
me to
you
go?
can, if you're going to speak, you need to speak into the mic so it can be recorded.
I don't need to speak.
Okay, I thought maybe that was the case. Can I get a motion to close the public hearing?
Motion to close the public hearing, Brian.
A second?
And I second the motion.
And if I could get a roll call for the vote? Danny, how do you vote?
Yes.
Jamie, how do you vote?
Yes.
Stephen, how do you vote?
Yes.
Charlie, how do you vote? And I vote yes as well. It's unanimous.
Thank you.
I
Now-
cannot
now
do
we
a
have to,
motion till I fix my computer.
Do you want another one? There's probably some others.
I'll fix that for you.
Charlie's got a technical issue. It'll just be a minute.
Technical issue.
All right.
It's always me.
Someone want to make a motion to vote in the affirmative on this?
Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve the special permit for 26 Vinyl Square, requesting a special permit after the fact, including the letters read in.
Thank you.
Second.
Second by Danny. We're going to have a roll call vote. Danny, how do you vote?
Yes.
Jamie, how do you vote?
Yes.
Stephen, how do you vote?
Yes.
Charlie, how do you vote?
Yes.
And I vote yes as well. It's unanimous. Enjoy. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good evening. I'll follow up with the paperwork.
Okay, our next hearing is 2 Indian Drive. David Caprigno is requesting a new after-the-fact variance and/or modification thereof of a previously approved variance modification under the zoning bylaw, section 195-8, nonconformity for the construction of an enclosed porch along the back of the house, which post-construction as-built plan shows was not in keeping with the previously approved variance. Modification that allowed an 18-foot setback. This property is located in the residential RB district. And I believe at this point, sir, you have a 16-foot setback, is that correct?
Correct, it ended up being 16 feet. The way we just first came up with the footprint, it was based on an existing fence that's been there for many years. And if you were to take that measurement from the fence to the corner of the building, it is 18 feet.
So the fence wasn't located on the property line?
Many, many, many years ago.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's, and based on my previous, we first had the 2-car garage variance, which gave us that 18-foot variance. And based on that corner of the garage to the fence, it's 18 feet. So we basically projected that, I projected that forward to come up with the footprint. And based on that mathematics, the fence was where it's supposed to be. So
right.
when I went for all the permitting, because we actually would have made it, I would have went for the 16-foot because I wanted the 12.
Right,
the
you
math
you got a
to stay right.
variance, which was the challenge, not
Right.
whether it was 16 or 18. I mean, you can't say where it would have gone, but
Yeah, I mean,
I
but
can
I would have,
appreciate that it probably would have.
yeah, like, we would have had it all done at the same time as what I'm getting at in the garage, because then we wouldn't have to go through the variance on the porch.
The
Then we had
modification
to
to
do
the
the
variance.
modification. So now I'm here asking for another modification to have that adjusted to the 16 feet. That's where
Clear
we're at
as
right
mud.
there.
Okay, do we have letters?
I did submit a letter from
What
our,
is the,
my butter
modification?
The departmental letters? Yes.
Yeah, or any letters. I
And
guess.
the applicant also had letter of support from abutters.
Okay,
which I
good,
will
that would be
pull
something
that
we
out as
want to
well.
read in. This is from Sheila Joyce, and I mean, I understand most of this after the fact, but we do need to read it in.
Yep.
Is this 8 Columbia? I thought this was
Sorry,
2
I gave
Indian
you the wrong
Drive.
one.
Oh, okay.
My apologies.
No worries.
Here you go.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, so this is comments on 2 Indian Drive from Sheila Joyce, project engineer. 2 Indian Drive, as a result of this review, this also in the following comments. No additional comments. Comments from the previous letter dated May 10th, 2024, remaining pertinent regarding any construction-related activities for the enclosed porch. So they've already deferred, which is great. They write long letters. The Board of Health has no concerns. Fire prevention has no concerns. Zoning, other than the obvious, has no concerns. The police have no concerns, and the Chelmsford Water District has no concerns. Oh, and we have another one. No concerns from the treasurer tax collector. That's a good one. I have a letter I'm going to read in from Michael Brooks, 14 East Shepherd Lane, Daniel Morrow from 16 East Shepherd Lane, and Brett Gross from 4 Indian Drive. Now, is 4 the abutting neighbor with the fence?
They are all abutters to my backyard.
The one that's abutting the fence, is that 4?
So no, 4 is an open line. So if you're looking at that, 4 is right below me, right there, that's 4. And then the 2 other abutters are one with the pool and then one out the pool right there.
Okay.
Dan is right there with the pool, Mike is below that.
And Mike is the fence guy then?
No, actually Dan is.
Oh, okay,
So
okay.
Mike put in a brand-new fence, and he put it in shortly after we moved in, so there's a brand-new vinyl fence, but then Dan has an existing, like a 4-foot picket, which, when I was talking to him, he informed me the previous owners put it in about a week after he bought and moved into his house. And I think the previous owner marked some ground stakes, assuming where it was, and
Right.
went with it that way many years ago. So it's been there since
Forever.
Dan owned the house, yeah.
Right.
And as you can see, they have no issues with it right now.
Yeah, I'm going to read the letter into the record. The 3 gentlemen, 3 owners. Dear Zoning Board, we hope this letter finds you well. I am well. We are writing to respectfully request consideration for a minor modification to the approved variance regarding the placement of an enclosed porch at my residence, located at 2 Indian Drive. The enclosed porch was recently constructed with a 16-foot setback from the property line rather than the approved 18 feet. We're requesting that the town consider the existing setback, as my neighbors have no objections to the new structure's location. To demonstrate this, we have gathered support from my immediate neighbors who agree with the current placement of the enclosed porch. You'll find signatures below from my neighbors confirming they have no issue with the 16-foot setback and are in full support of the modified variance. This variance request is simply a reflection of the structure's practical alignment on the property, which does not negatively impact any neighboring properties. We talked to them about what happened during the planning and how the mistake was made. We kindly ask that you consider this request to review the matter. I will be happy to provide any additional information if needed. Thank you for your time and understanding. And that is the letter. So we'll leave that in the record. Does the board have any questions at this time? Zoom, Charlie does?
Yeah, I know you said it's off 2 feet, but I just cannot figure how it can be off, because, didn't the surveyor Ludwig tell you where to put it?
No, I never had it surveyed before the footprint. It was, if you look at the maps, I believe I have those entered in. It was a diagram based on measuring from the fence line that I did.
Usually,
Certified plot plan.
Yeah, I have that.
typically-
So it wasn't, you approved the variance based on my diagram, which I have this copy, should be in my record, saying how far off the fence it was. So the fences, I assume, would be my property line, right? And it,
never assume that.
well, that's, based on where what my garage was, that had the as-built, based to the corner, that's how I came up with that. And that's what I presented to the board when I got the approval to
That's the
build it.
garage. And then the next page goes
I
the
guess we
sketch.
messed up on that.
So there was another, there is a certified plan that was included with another surveyor, a different surveyor, and they, it appears certified from the 18.2 point. It does not say the fence, it shows the property line, and it's a certified plot plan, so I
So
think
Charlie-
that.
I think I remember this one.
So Charlie, you may
I remember
recall,
it.
a year ago, or 2023, we received the application for a variance for that garage. And so that is the as-built showing the garage built, and that's what the applicant came back for in 2024 for modification of the variance, and he provided that as-built plan. Then if you flip the page, I believe it shows the estimate of the porch with its dimensions, which is how it got built with those dimensions. But he thought he was keeping in line with that 18, the established 18-foot setback.
I see how we happened.
Yeah, I mean, you have it, you have a.
Yeah, the visual
certified
helps.
plot
I
plan, and
apologize, I didn't
mistake was
attach
made.
that to this agenda. So he was trying to keep with that 18-foot
Yeah,
that was
no, I
established for
totally
the garage,
understand it
but the
now.
as-built for
Now I
the
get it.
porch came back 2 feet off.
I get you.
My tape measure.
I get you.
It's a certified plot plan, so.
So, and it wasn't a foundation build, so I didn't do it until the, Stephen, is that the gentleman, the building inspector that came out?
Paul.
Oh,
Paul Diamore,
I would mess his
Senior
name up.
Inspector Diamore.
He came out, because I asked him, as I was building, to make sure I was building correctly. And he says, all right, when you get it finished with the windows up, let me know, come and I'll sign off. And I go, that's when I'll order the as-built, because there's no foundation, they go from the building.
The building has to be in place.
Right,
Yeah.
and that's when I found out
There was a
that there
problem.
was the big issue, yeah.
So the porch was approved under a modification to the initial variance, so I don't know how if the board wants to proceed with another modification to adjust for this, or a letter to the file explaining that they are aware of this change, or how you want to go about.
I guess I would defer to Jose. What would you feel is the correct, were we to grant it as built? How would you like to see that file, I guess?
So he already submitted the as-built, which is for this hearing, which it shows the discrepancy of 2 feet.
Yeah, I think that's what we're looking at right here.
Yeah.
I know everyone can't see it.
So, depending on what the board votes on to approve or disapprove, if I understand your question, I mean, he can resubmit that
I'm
to
just-
to the
would
building
you-
department.
Would you rather see it as a new variance, a modification to an existing variance?
I believe if you recall back with the previous town council, I think it should be a modification to a previous variance.
Okay, and I think that'd be less onerous anyways. I don't know if we even need,
Yeah.
it's an existing variance, so we could modify it.
Right, right,
Potentially a minor change. I don't know if
Right.
that's really,
that is correct.
Chairman, if I could ask a question.
certainly.
Am I understanding that the certified plot plan that we received when we gave this initial variance or modification variance was actually an error on it?
I
So we
believe
made
so,
it-
yes.
Is that what we're,
I
okay.
can answer that.
There is an error on it, and it is a certified plot plan.
Yeah,
Okay.
so if you were to see the actual original plot plan, I digitally dropped an image and highlighted and color-coded and said, this is where I plan on putting it. So I was using the existing certified plot plan to drop my porch on, to show where I planned on building, the location, the setbacks, so I could go from there. What was not known to me is that my
If we
fence
can get it up there, I think they.
is not the boundary line. And based on, I looked at it, that from the corner of the garage to the line, if I measure with my tape measure, that puts me where the fence is. So I brought that dimension towards the back, to the corner where the porch is. Because the porch is kind of set off the garage, back from the garage. I don't know if you can,
So you put images on the certified plot plan and added measurements?
I dropped image on to explain where I wanted to put the porch. I didn't cheat the document, I presented that this was my add and my math on a previous existing plot plan, so I could explain where the porch was gonna go. And that's what was approved when I had the modification.
I'm going to pull up those images. That was May 16th of 2024, and I'm going to pull up those images that were attached to that agenda. Just give me 1 second, I'm almost there.
So the deck proper was a modification to the variance.
Explain, I don't understand what you're
The
saying.
deck itself, or the
Yes.
porch itself, was the modification to the variance that was originally for the garage.
Correct, it was,
And that is the certified plot plan we have here for the garage.
correct,
I have a question.
yes.
So, Becky, am I correct that when a submission is coming in for a variance like this, we need a certified plot plan done by the surveyor? So when this happens, you know, where an applicant draws on a survey, how do we know that it's going to, you know, is there something that we're getting in writing from the surveyor saying that this is the correct plan? Because typically, you're not allowed to just draw on a certified plot plan.
If you don't mind, Becky, can I respond
ahead,
to that? So let me just clarify something here. So when the applicant came to revise the variance that he previously had to add the porch, this board granted a variance to 18 feet setbacks. And he did provide a certified plot plan showing the 18
original.
feet. The original. When he did not put a full foundation for this addition, and correct me if I'm wrong, I did not issue this permit, so the new addition was put on piers.
That's correct, I think, that's what we have.
It was put on piers. So the building official went to the site and did the footing inspection and contingent that he will receive the as-built.
Right.
During that time, it is my understanding, Mr. Caprigno, he continued to do the construction work, and that's when he noticed, he measured, and he noticed that he was off 2 feet by the new, by the as-built submitted by another land surveyor. So the first as-built, correct me if I'm wrong, was issued by one surveyor, and the second one was issued by another surveyor.
Right.
So there was a discrepancy there with where the fence was placed according to the distance to the structure.
Correct.
I don't know if I answer your question.
Yeah, you did.
Thank you.
And Danny, to further answer the question you had asked me, so yes, normally when it's an addition, we, as Jose explained, we do require that, and the addition was for the garage, which is what I have up on screen. I don't know if you can see it on your end. So it showed what the proposed garage would be, and the distance would be 18 feet. And so the board initially approved this back in February of 2020, April of 2022. Because this is a copy of the initial variance that was provided when they came back for a modification to the previously approved variance. So this was the plot plan that we had for the approval of the garage. And then when the applicant came back for a modification of this to include the porch in the back, and that's what I'm trying to get up on screen now, he did come in showing the dimensions of that porch, and it would be in keeping with the 18-foot setback, but not having a new plot plan, just working off of this one. And the board discussed that and decided that that would suffice for a small modification because it was for an enclosed porch without a foundation, as Jose mentioned.
I have the image on my phone. If they have a camera that I can hold it up to,
No, I don't think so.
no, okay.
Yeah, I thought I had it in here. I'm just trying to find it.
Well, they can look at the one on their agenda. Or maybe they don't have the,
Yeah, I thought I had it's in the file. I have it here. Unfortunately, those on Zoom can't see it.
right. Yeah, I think I
I
have
thought
possession of
that
that.
part was scanned in as well, and I'm just gonna look one more time to see if this is scanned.
I think
Should be.
basically we probably tried to accommodate him without having him do another survey, and it apparently bit. So we were part of the mistake here.
Yeah, it looks like for that meeting, I had accidentally put web links twice, but twice on the architectural plans and not a link for the actual
As the actual,
proposed enclosed porch. But if you give me a minute, I believe I have that on my computer, and I can just switch over to show it on the screen.
So you, just so I can clarify, the builder, the owner, I'm sorry, when you were finished building, or in the process of the building, you discovered on your own that it was 16 feet, and so you decided to get a new surveyor out there to do another plot plan? Is that how we came to these plans by Ludwig?
No. I was told to basically finish the build because the walls had to be up to get the as-built, so they had something to measure to. Pat Flaherty, who did the original survey, is no longer surveying, so I reached out to a local surveyor to come in and then resurvey the plot. So it was even more money out of my pocket because of that, but had to be done. And then they surveyed and did a more in detailed as-built on it. My proposal was just all my drawing on an existing to explain where I wanted to put it based on the size and everything like that.
But it was already on it was already an existing structure, so you weren't adding to, so that's why you went on the measurements on the pre-existing plot plan.
Correct, so I could explain where I wanted to drop it, how big, because if I'd known that, I would have asked for 16 foot instead of the 18 foot. And the only reason why we stuck even with the 18 foot is we didn't think we needed to have to modify again, because we were just staying within the modification for the garage. And then that's when they said they needed to modify, and now here we are.
You stayed in the same footprint, but that footprint was actually measured wrong on the initial
Correct.
plot plan.
Correct.
Got it. Okay. Thank you.
this one.
That one. That work? Yep, okay.
Excellent.
There it is.
Okay, I just pulled up the, how it was submitted for the modification. Can you all see the screen at home? Okay, I'm gonna
Yes.
zoom in so you can get a better look at it. This is what was submitted for the modification. So it was the as-built with the garage from the original variance. Showing it at 18.2, which is what 18 feet was approved on the initial variance. And then working off of this, the proposal was this enclosed porch here, if you can see, follow my mouse. And the applicant thought that this here would be in keeping with the 18 feet.
So that's a new footprint.
The porch is a whole new footprint, yes.
So
The
And
whole
that's the
house is
structure
new.
that's within 16 feet now.
Correct.
Is the garage 16 feet off the property line, or is the garage 18 feet off the property line?
18 foot 2.
So the assumption was wrong because your property line comes inward. So if your property line comes inward and you're I guess, why would the assumption have been it was 18 feet?
I think I can
don't-
explain that. So Jamie, when you look at the property line, that was the property line that was assessed. What it doesn't show is that there's a fence. Right, is that right?
Correct. That 121-foot span has a 4-foot picket fence that goes along it. What I was not aware of is that picket fence is on my neighbor's property by 2 feet.
And so the applicant thought the fence was the property line, when the fence is actually 2 feet over the property line. And so when he measured the dimensions for the proposal, that's where it was off by 2 feet.
So as a board, we technically didn't have a certified plot plan for the addition.
I
Yeah,
guess that's a
that was my
reasonable
question.
argument, yes.
Okay.
But
Okay,
we allowed it.
right,
We allowed
okay.
the certified plot plan that was in place for the garage to be forwarded to
Right.
the.
And the owner added his own, which these are all measurements that but these are not certified measurements on a certified plot plan. These are owner drawn on top
Correct.
of, okay.
Correct, and that was made clear during the hearing. In fact,
Okay.
I'll zoom out. The applicant had photocopied the plan, but we were aware that that was not,
Okay,
because if you look, it's just a zoom in of the plan. It didn't even have all the heading. And he wrote in his own notes, which are the boxes highlighted in red, and he made that clear when he applied, and he made it clear to the board during the hearing.
okay,
What should have happened is he should have had the corners located by a surveyor. And I think that's what really made it not work. Everything else was, we should have had, we couldn't have had a certified plot plan because it didn't exist. So we would get a proposed plot plan, and these dimensions are where they go. But when he looked for those dimensions, he took it from the fence, and that created an error, simply. And then when he had the as-built done, which normally you would understand at the foundation's construction, this is wrong. As soon as the foundation went in, you have an as-built done. But he didn't have a foundation, he had piers that did not locate the external corners. I mean, I can understand the mistake. I don't think anybody was doing anything they shouldn't have. It just, I don't even know how you do it right without a foundation. I mean, it just was sort of the way we allow it to happen. He did have a certified plot plan. We did give setbacks. If he was to find it before construction, he would have had to have the surveyor locate the corners, which in hindsight wouldn't have been a bad idea, but I think he thought he understood how this worked and probably wanted to save $500 and didn't do it. I don't even know if he considered doing it. I don't know.
I didn't know because the fence was my boundary line.
Right.
And I measured from the garage corner in.
And
I
in
brought
fairness,
all
if
that
you can
math.
imagine this deck, he could have just moved it down until he had 18 feet. I think he took it back until he had 18 feet and said that's where it goes. Because as it grows, all he would have had to do is move the entire structure this way to accommodate the size deck he has now. It would have just been farther towards the right of the home.
I'm not saying anything,
I'm just trying to-
anything was erroneous or malicious on the owner's part by any mean. I don't want to try and infer that at any point. If
I
that
don't
was
believe that's the case,
on my
but
phone sound, please excuse if I'm just trying to ask questions to make sure I have the facts in my mind straight. I know as a board, when people propose additions or any type of modifications to their homes, we get certified plot plans, and those proposed additions are indicated on the certified plot plan with the new locations and the new setbacks. So that's I was just trying to get clarification on how.
I think that
the
honestly
board-
happened
what
exactly that
documents,
way.
what the board was looking at the time when they made the decision for the initial modification, so.
At the end of the day, it was the applicant's responsibility to locate those 2 points, and he used an erroneous point to get to it, and it added, I can understand how it happened. I just, It's one of
So-
those few things we don't like the problem any more than you do. We don't want to have modifications on top of modifications anyways, so.
The only comment I would say is, I mean, I agree that, no one was doing anything on purpose or malicious in any intent. The only thing I would say is for future, I think when we get a plan similar to this, maybe just we have a condition that says, the corners are staked out by a surveyor or the line of the variance. That was my dog, sorry.
He didn't like that.
You didn't even have to tell us. We never would have known.
So when the line of the variance, maybe that gets staked out so that there is no mistakes in the future. Just something to think about for future conditions.
Yeah, no, it should have been avoided, but I can see how it occurred with, we had a certified plot plan. We located it and granted the 18-2 without concern. We had already granted the variance for 18-2. We granted it basically again, and it was just locating it that was a mistake. I could see that happening again, honestly. I don't know how we would put unless, I think the corner should have been staked by a surveyor. That would have been the solution. So
Yeah,
maybe we
and
require
that's
that.
the other thing
When
I
a
would say.
foundation, I mean, if the foundation's in, you're still in the same amount of trouble because the foundation is obviously something that doesn't come out without a lot of work and cost and effort, so that would have
A lot
been
less
bad.
than the whole building being done.
But at that point, you would have had the foundation surveyed and the building wouldn't have been constructed.
Correct.
But now we're through the whole process, so it's tricky. That being said, are there further questions of anybody on the board?
I have no more questions, Chairman.
Thank you. I'm going to open it up to the audience. If someone is in favor or opposition to this, now is the time to speak. Please approach the podium.
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
We have a motion. Can I ask for a second?
Second.
Second by Danny. Going to do a roll call. Steve, are you in favor of closing the public hearing?
Yes, I am.
And Danny, are you in favor of closing the public hearing?
Yes.
Jamie, are you in favor of closing the public hearing?
Yes.
Charlie, are you in favor of
Yes.
closing the? And I am also in favor. So the public hearing is closed.
Okay.
I want to let you know, you guys are all set. You're welcome to enjoy and stay. You're all set if you,
We're gonna leave after this one.
okay. It's good TV, right?
Not that good.
Well, it's not a rerun,
Somewhat.
right, actually, yeah. Okay, so that being said, I think we can take this up and,
I'd like to make a motion to repair this to Indian Drive by making a modification of the previously approved variance
And
that we
modification.
messed up the 18-foot to 16-foot, and to make that into the variance, and in consideration with all the letters written in. Is that clear
So
enough?
to clarify, to modify the previous modification.
Right, modify the
Thank you.
previous one, okay.
that sounds
That's
like what we're looking
much
for.
better.
Okay, and if I could get a second?
I second the motion, Chairman.
Second by Jamie. I'm going to do a roll call. Danny, are you in favor of the motion?
Yes.
Or should I ask? Whether it's a vote, is that a better?
What?
Yeah, better to ask for the vote.
Could I have your vote, Jamie?
Yes.
Okay, and Stephen, your vote?
In favor.
In favor? Charlie?
Yes.
And I am also in favor. It's unanimous. We'll move on from that little mistake.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Good luck with it.
I'll follow up with the paperwork for you, okay?
Talk to you tomorrow, okay? So still don't do anything until they see the paperwork, right?
Correct.
Okay.
There is an appeal period of 21 days. I don't know what you're going to do, whether it's done or complete or not,
I got
but
some siding to finish.
good luck. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, well, thank you.
Come
very much.
any first of the Thursday, we'll be here. I just didn't know if they knew Skilly, because I know there was a language barrier.
If you could hit that magic button again, so I can put the agenda back up, and so I can pull up the next applicants.
That should do it.
It just takes a few seconds. There we go, back online.
Okay, our next hearing, hopefully not as complicated as that one.
I'll keep it simple.
That's an attorney, we're in
I
worship.
just need to get back to today's agenda. 1 second.
Can I read it?
If you could read it off, yeah.
This is for 8 Columbia Street and 10 Minor Avenue. Robin Malott is requesting a variance to swap land between 2 non-conforming lots, making 10 Minor Avenue more non-conforming due to a reduction in lot area and an additional variance for a reduced rear setback for the newly created lot line at 10 Minor Avenue. These properties are located in the residential RB zoning district. Good evening.
Good evening. My name is Greg Halladina, 56 Central Square, Chelmsford, and I'm here tonight on behalf of Robin Malott, the applicant. Robin has, for 40 years, owned her home at 8 Columbia Street. And adjacent to her parents' home, adjacent to her home is her parents' home, which is at 10 Minor Ave. Her parents were Howard and Marilyn Ryan, and they owned that property for 60 years. And if you could pull up, Becky, I guess the GIS map would probably be this way, just to show this. And what you're looking at outlined in green on that map is Robin Malott's home. And if you could highlight the adjacent property that her late parents, Howard and Marilyn Ryan, owned, it's directly abutting it, but it has an address on Minor Ave. Now, Robin's mom passed away in 2021, and then her father passed in May of 2024, and Robin is the personal representative of her dad's estate. Her dad's property, which is presently outlined, if you could put that in green, the dad's property, 10 Minor.
One moment.
Yeah, that property at 10 Minor has a pool in the backyard. And if you go even further in the backyard, you can see there is a garage, which is detached at the rear of that property. The garage has always been accessed over Robin's property from Columbia. Even though it's located on her dad's property, it's always been accessed over Robin's property, and they both used it. It was never a problem. It was her father's home, and it was her home, so passing over it to get access to the garage was never an issue. But now that the estate needs to sell her dad's home, they need to clean up this issue. All we're seeking to do here is to move the lot line from Robin's home, which is on 8 Columbia, and then to place it a little beyond that garage, sufficiently setting back the garage from Robin's property, so that you'll have the garage on her own property, which it already accesses and which she already uses. The problem came up, and the reason we're here, as you can see in the denial letter from Mr. Negron, her dad's lot at 10 Minor is undersized. You require 40,000 here in the RB, of course, and he is at 30,000, which is about 3 times the size of the other lots in the neighborhood, as you can see from that GIS map. And what we'll be doing is, by moving the lot line, there's no construction, no change of use, nothing. All we're doing is moving the lot line so that the garage is
Sitting
on
on
Robin's
the
property.
Columbia Street, yes.
What we are doing is making the 10 Minor property a little smaller. As I said, it went from, it'll go from 30,000 to about 14,800 square feet, although it is still twice the size of the lots in the neighborhood, as you can see. The other variance we're asking for is the pool, which is in the back of the 10 Minor property, will be 27 feet 2 inches, and you require 30 in the rear yard. And there's some pavement going around the pool as well. So we've applied for a variance, and as I said, there's no new construction, no change in the use. And the hardship here is that because of the shape of these lots, you can't do an equal swap. So you're going to have to make one of them smaller by changing the lot line. And additionally, from Minor Ave on her dad's property, if you were even to get to the garage, you have to go down a very steep incline on the bottom portion there, which I think Becky is pointing to. And you go by that pool, and it's a narrow and steep incline, so it would be difficult to use anyway. So what we want to do is just be able to have the garage on Robin's property, just by moving the property line. No change in use, it'll just be for storage. No detriment to the public, and as you can see, even though these lots are changing, you are making the 10 Minor Ave lot smaller, more non-conforming, but you're
25%
making the other one bigger, less non-conforming. It's not an equal swap, but nothing's going to change to the neighborhood. No one will see anything.
With the smaller lot, Jose, would that be considered a pre-existing non-conforming lot? And does that give it any protection?
Well, under 19510, so you're getting a non-conforming lot and making it, like the applicant stated, more or less conforming.
Further non-conforming? So that creates the need for a variance.
Right.
And then the setback would also create a second need for a second variance.
The setbacks for the minor, it appears that, I don't know when minor was built, what,
Minor was built in 1963.
1963, so that'll be 25 on the side, 30 on the rear. The setbacks to the pool, it appears to be okay. And as a matter of fact, the setback to the rear of 10 Minor, they are at 78 feet. Is that correct?
I have 27 from the pool
From the pool,
to the
you
new property
yeah.
line.
And then from the house to the property line, you're at 78. If I'm reading this correct, right?
I need my magnifying glass to see that plan.
I can zoom in more.
Yes.
Let me zoom in. So the rear would be 30, correct, Jose?
Well, the garage would be 30, the garage which would then be
Conforming.
part of
So, but-
Columbia. But we're talking about the pool, which is
Right, so the pool-
27 feet 2 inches.
So to your question, Mr. Chairman, once the lot size is reduced to 14,000 square feet, plus or minus, 14,792 square feet, plus or minus, so the pool will be within the setbacks required for a pool.
But the 10 feet?
And the rear of 10 Minor will also be in compliance because the rear setback
have the
will be.
distance.
Right. And then the side setbacks are pre-existing side setbacks. I don't know if I answer your question, Mr. Chairman.
I was just wondering if they got any protections because it would be considered pre-existing non-conforming.
You mean 10 Minor?
Yes.
I believe once you make another nonconformity, you cannot do, I forgot which section it is, but I think you're locked with that second nonconformity.
You can, it would, yeah, I think I know what you're saying.
Yeah, my understanding is we're making it a little more non-conforming because it's already
Creating a
small.
further
Although it's 3
non-conforming.
times the size of the other lots in the neighborhood, it is undersized technically. So you're making it a little more undersized. Well, at the same time, you're making Robin's lot larger, but you are technically making it more non-conforming.
So we'd be granting a variance to 8 Columbia for the rear setback and to 10 Minor for the reduction in lot size? Or they both go,
I think both the variances are for Minor, for the reduced size of the lot.
well, the rear setback, I thought was acceptable on Minor.
It had been applied for because of a rear setback, but if the 27 feet is in the opinion of Jose,
And what is the setback from the garage to the rear splitting Minor and
30
Columbia?
feet. 30 feet.
So that's
That's adequate.
complies.
Yeah, that was
So
my
we're really
view.
only
Yeah.
be granting one variance. Is that correct to your thinking, Jose?
Yeah, so let's suppose that 10 Minor had that lot size right now, 14,792 square feet, and they wanted to put that pool there, then that pool will be in compliance because it's
And the setbacks of the house are certainly
in the
compliant.
first, right.
Just to clarify with the legal notice, that was an administrative error because we were looking at the 27.3 feet and thinking of the 30-foot setback requirement, forgetting that a pool only needs 10 feet.
So we are
Yeah.
compliant other than,
So we don't need that secondary.
well, that's,
I mean, I apologize,
one
that came
then
in
two.
after this was filed, but yeah, if that's the case, then the only variance is for the lot size of Minor Ave.
and I don't want to get crazy on this, but couldn't we take a square of that in the side and achieve some more footage for Minor Ave? Like, it can't be behind the garage, though I would think that line,
You'd have an oddly shaped lot, and, you create
I'm just
issues.
trying to figure a way to get Minor enough to go for a special permit instead of a variance.
I mean, I looked at it 6 of one, half dozen of the other, I guess, but, I mean, at this point, I think you'd be hard pressed to find a way to, and I'm sure the engineers looked at it.
Mr. Chairman, I just want to make one clarification. The setback for a pool is kind of equal on all sides. That includes the main house. I don't know what's the distance of that pool to the house. That will be the only question that I will have, the distance of the pool to the house. Because if it's less than 10 feet, then that will be
A concern, but it's
concern.
pre-existing.
If
That's
it
not
do-
changing,
Yeah, but, yeah, the only thing is, now that I see it, if it falls under the statute, if it doesn't fall under the statute of limitation, then.
No, yeah, I mean, I think it would have been, it's, to my knowledge, always been 10.
Yeah.
Oh, the big guns. Yeah, there's nothing visible saying that that's is as it is, but I can't find anything that's even, a comparison number to kind of work from.
Mhm.
This is probably not very accurate. I'm just curious whether it looks like it would do it. There's an 18.2 line from the property line to the back of the pool patio. And if I put that where the pool begins, it's somewhere near half of it now, which would be 9 feet. And I can't even tell you it's accurate. I'm just trying to get an idea whether it's close, which it looks like it would be. How many square feet are we taking away from the 30,000-foot requirement? What is it now, 27?
Are you talking
Originally
about
it was-
10 minor?
Well, the size of the thing is supposed to be 40,000 because it's a new lot, is that, or would we be using 30,000?
Well, they are not developing the new lot on A Columbia, so
Right.
they just want to,
A new lot would be 40,000. Is that what?
Yeah, I'm just trying to
Brian?
understand,
A conforming new lot would be
What-
40,000 square feet, but in this case, it looks like 8 Columbia is 35,122 feet
today.
today, and 10 Minor is,
I think altogether was
Yeah,
30,300.
8 Columbia will increase to 35,122,
Okay.
and 10 minor will go
okay.
down from 30,000 to 14,792. And the reason that's the disparity, you're making, Columbia bigger, but then 10 minor is smaller. But given where the barn is, I mean, you can't just divide the line right down the garage, so.
I'm just trying to figure, and I didn't realize it was as much as 15,000 feet of shrinking. But, as you say, the lot to the front of it, no, it doesn't give a size. But they are like 15s at the most.
Yeah, the adjacent lots are, on our side of the street are,
But even if we were to
0.17
take
acres.
the corner of the garage that is not behind the garage on both sides, you're gonna get like 800 feet for each one. We're really struggling issuing a variance. That's a challenge for us. We're trying to get to the point where it would be a special permit, which is less problematic. Have you looked into relocating the garage closer to, and I'm not trying to, make a big deal out of it, but if the garage was relocated closer to Minor Ave?
You
I'm
mean closer
sure-
to Minor Ave? Minor is on the.
I'm sorry,
yeah.
closer to Columbia.
Oh, well, I mean, it's a pretty large structure. I mean, it would be a
Not
major
without
hardship to
cost,
move
I'm
it, yeah.
sure, but it might be an option to keep the garage usable on the Columbia side.
I mean, I look at it as a variance, I guess in support of doing it as a variance for two reasons. One, because of the shape of the lots, you really can't, you'd have a very oddly shaped lot if you tried to swap an even amount, so you don't change the lot size. That would be your hardship there.
But would end your setbacks on the side, too.
Yeah, you would affect
You
those.
can't go past
Yeah,
that
so you-
without creating a new.
Yeah, so based on the shape of the lot, you'd have a hard time doing an even swap. And then the question on the garage, which is accessed through Robbins' property at Columbia, the only access is, if you were to access it from Minor, 10 Minor, you'd have to go down the side of the property, which, as I said, is a very narrow, if you've seen it, if you went out there, yeah, it's narrow and it's
Well,
down,
then
it's a steep
That's a
incline.
problem of topography, which is in your favor for a variance.
That's what I'm pointing out, and then I'd say the lot shape with respect to the size being changed of the lots, because the shape of them, you just can't do an even swap.
I was trying to look at a way to not give you a variance, and that's kind of the goal, to make it less onerous.
Mr. Chair, I have a question.
Yes.
I thought I read in my planning board book 20 million years ago that a pre-existing non-conforming lot that was undersized could not be more undersized. And the reason for that is just because of that one reason. It's already pre-existing non-conforming. You can't make it more non-conforming unless there are certain criteria. It could be a new school going up, they need it for a driveway, for a police station. It could be a public taking. But in this case, I don't see a reason for changing the lot lines.
Well, what you have is, well, I mean, that's, I guess, would support a variance. What we're trying to do is keep that garage being utilized by 8 Columbia, which is, access to it is over 8 Columbia. And as I said, the 10 Minor was her parents', and it was no problem if, your parents' access over your property. But at some point, if you're gonna sell it as the executive of your parents' estate, do you really want a stranger driving through your property to get to that garage? I mean, that's, the situation we're facing.
Try to think outside the box a little so that we can accommodate, you can get where you want to go, which I believe is to put the garage so that Columbia can utilize it, have it as part of their property. But to take a 30,000 square foot lot and make it less than half is a big ask, in my opinion.
It is. I would point out, though, that the other lots, it's still gonna be nearly twice the size of all the other adjoining lots.
Yep, I see that.
And you are actually making one lot less non-conforming, because you're getting closer to, Columbia is now becoming closer to the 40,000, still not there yet, but it's closer. It's a larger lot, you're increasing that, so that's less non-conforming. And that's the trade-off with 10 Minor then becoming more non-conforming.
I can't speak for the board, but I think it's going to be an uphill battle to get a variance for this. What I would suggest is we continue it, and if you want to talk to the engineers and maybe a few contractors and understand that buildings move, they're not that bad to move. If you wanted to look into it and decide if the cost was offset enough to be worth it to you, it appears, looking at it, that you should be able to move that forward until you get a point where it's an even land swap, and you can do what you need to do.
Can I just say something? The building cannot be moved. It's
That's the
like
It's old.
Part of it is built with large concrete blocks on one, you know what I mean? It's built into
We
the
need to
side
go
of
to the
the
microphone, to the
Yeah,
podium.
I mean, we're not in favor of it. What we're not in favor of is
I mean,
granting
I
a
just, like,
variance.
The
especially if it's not even
building is
allowed.
built, I'm sorry, I'm Robin Millat, I'm the owner of these two pieces of property right now. Unfortunately, it's built into the side of a hill and it can't, there's no way it could be moved without
That's not gonna- I have
dismantling the
not
whole
seen it,
thing.
as you know. I mean, I wouldn't
You know,
go on your property without.
I mean, I can show you, I have 3 pictures here that you can see what the property looks like. I know they aren't gonna be able to see it, on Zoom, but I can show you what it looks like. I mean, and I would even be willing, apply for a variance myself too with, can we just do 15 feet and give 10 minor, a little extra on the backside instead of me having the 30 feet?
Well, we
From the
could-
back of the barn, if you want to get to, I don't know, can I,
We could
Can I
apply
give you
for
the
a
pictures?
special permit and get a 20% reduction in your rear setback. And that would improve things, but I don't think, that is a big one.
The topography.
Yeah, it's a reasonable argument, the topography, so. We could vote and see where it lies. You could move that, couldn't you, Charlie?
Easily.
There you go. I mean, I'm not suggesting you move the foundation. You would have to put a new foundation, and that would be certainly an expense. We're just trying to figure out how we could get this done and, not do the things that we would rather not do, which is grant a variance. And I'm not sure if Jose agreed with Charlie. Is there reducing a lot? that's
190, yeah, 195.10.
Says you cannot reduce a lot that is not, so we really can't do that. Or could we grant a variance for that?
Mr. Chairman, I think once I issue these letters, based on these sections of the bylaws, when I see the word shall not,
It means don't.
I think so.
That doesn't mean an option.
That would be a good question for town council.
And we can pursue that too. I mean, if we can't issue as you shall not, that's gonna just.
I assume that a variance was appropriate and available, although you do have the standards to meet that I think you're struggling with, is what I'm hearing.
Yes.
Would the preference be for a special permit, if that could be crafted? I mean, this just was presented and published and filed as a variance. I mean, if we could consider.
We could still look at a special permit because it was advertised as a variance, so that could continue. I think,
The board would be more comfortable with a special permit, and we could look at, reframing it.
I would be more comfortable with a variance for the rear setback. And then we could extend that. I don't think it's gonna help you to remove 20% of the setback from Columbia to Minor. If we bring the line 20% forward, I don't think it's gonna change a lot. It might get you to 16 or 17,000, but I don't think we can do that. That's what I think is happening, is we can't reduce Minor's size at all.
I thought you could, and obviously we can, have town council look at it, and I'd be happy to
Yeah, and
research
we're
it
more
further.
than willing to forward that, or yourself, the question to them, and ask him to rule on whether he feels that's even legal to do, because that would be the thing we need to resolve. And I'm pretty sure that even if we said, you don't need a setback in the back of the garage, you still wouldn't gain 15,000 feet. You wouldn't.
And perhaps if we could be continued to the next hearing if the board.
We can
think
get
that's
organized
appropriate,
and
we
talk
can
to
work on
town
this.
council.
Yeah, I just viewed it was filed as a variance. I mean, I think there are some hardships. I can make the argument, but I'm seeing obviously you're struggling with it, so I'd like to look into it a little
I
further.
don't think, if I'm understanding both Charlie and Jose correctly, that we can reduce the lot size of any non-conforming lot. If I'm understanding what they're saying correctly, 195.10 says shall not.
That is correct, Mr. Chairman.
So that's definitely a trick. I'm not trying to spend money that you may, I'm not trying to do anything, but I think you may consider looking into what it would take to move that building. It may not be worth it to you, it may not be worth, and that's acceptable too, I understand that. I'm just trying to,
The easiest solution was to just try and divide the property a little bit.
Yeah. well, you may look at selling the property as is with a use feature for the garage for 30 years. Whatever makes sense is an option for you. You can basically, say, we're gonna sell the property, this is what it costs, and if you, we're gonna have I'm sure the attorney would put it together and say, we get the garage at $100 a year till we decide not to, and then they would take it over after you're done. I don't know, it's gotta be tough, though, because if we can't reduce minor Ave, that we can't. So that's probably the first thing to understand.
Okay. We'd like to look into that issue if that, would make the board more comfortable.
Yep, yeah, no, I think that we'll continue, and we'll get together with town council, I'll pose the question, I'm sure you will as well, and we'll get a response as to whether we can legally do that with a variance, and from there, we can look at it, I'd feel a lot better if he said, yes, you can do that, I'd feel better about it. But I think I'd still like to see probably an application for a special permit on the setback, gaining you another 5 feet of space, or it was 30 feet, right, was the setback?
Yes, 30 feet.
So it would be,
It would be a variance and a special permit based upon what you're suggesting.
right, you'd be
yeah.
getting a special permit for the garage and the setback on the rear. Maybe even a variance on the setback for the rear and increase that. But I think it sounds like if I can't reduce it by a foot, it won't matter. Because if I can't reduce it by 1 foot, I can't reduce it by, 12,000 or 10,000 or whatever. So we'll get some things.
Homework on that and get back to you.
Okay, I'm gonna leave the public meeting open. I'm gonna go
Mr. Chair, do you
to,
want to just read in the comment letters just
That's a good
for like
idea. Yep.
procedural, so we know we've covered that?
and if the board has any questions tonight, further questions for the applicant?
I have no questions, Chairman.
Okay, seeing none.
A question for you, Brian. Is it for the variance that we're talking about, it's got to be 4-1, correct?
I believe it would
voting?
have to be a supermajority, that's correct.
Okay.
I
Thank
think
you.
that's absolute, yeah. And I'm not even sure we can grant the variance, so we've got some work to do.
Yeah, I was just saying, if it came back that we could, it'd have to be a 4-1 vote. That was my question, and you answered it, so thank you.
Yep,
And just for the record as well, I just want to state that both members, Glenn Diggs and Rodney Cleaves, are now online on the Zoom call. It appears that they were in the waiting room for a while, and I just want to apologize because I had set up the opposite computer to show the previous plot plan.
we went
I
side
was
to
no,
side.
I went silence on the Zoom, so I apologize to both of you. You were waiting, and I couldn't see that. But they are online now, so I just
and
wanted
you
to,
think they observed the whole meeting, so we can carry them as members?
yes.
They did, they were there for the whole meeting.
Well,
For
I'll
this
ask her, I'll
whole-
confirm.
Okay,
For this particular public hearing, yes. They have both been on for this
Because they
particular
could
public hearing.
observe, they just
They're
couldn't.
observing, and they still qualify for the next meeting when we continue.
and even though they didn't ask questions, okay.
They've been
They're
observing
not
this whole
voting
time.
at this point.
Yep.
Yep.
Ronnie, I think Ronnie had a question. His hand was up.
Ron, did you have a question?
I just gotta confirm, I was watching from the time it started, so.
Okay. Just for the record keepers. This is from the town engineer. Dear members, this office has reviewed the project application, plans, and documents submitted to the DPW on January 29th, 2025 for the following public hearing notice on February 6, 2025, 8 Columbia Street and 10 Minor Ave. There is no additional sewer capacity allotted on this lot, and it is understood the purpose of this project application is for land ownership only. The attached garage is not permitted to connect to town sewer. It is understood that this application does not propose a change in the existing one of 8 Columbia Street or 10 Minor Ave, or propose a change in the sewer usage. If there is a change in use or expansion, the applicant should submit the necessary floor plans to supplement the sewer allocation calculations. I have Jose's denial letter, which we already have.
Have it, yeah.
8 Columbia Ave from the Fire Prevention Department has no concerns. The Board of Health for 8 Columbia and 10 Minor has no concerns. The police for 8 Columbia and 10 Minor Ave have no concerns. And the North Chelmsford Water District has no concerns, as well as the treasurer and collector, town tax collector, have no concerns. That being done, I'm going to ask for a continuance till March 6th, is it?
Same as today.
Yep.
February 6th.
No kidding. March 6th?
I'd like to make a motion
Are
to.
there any further questions?
Well, we have a neighbor who is in support of it, but if the hearing's gonna stay open, if he's available.
The hearing will be open. You could speak if you wanted to.
I'll come next month. I got other.
Okay,
What date is the,
March 6th.
March 6th.
thank you. I just wanted to make sure he was available.
Like they say, good TV.
Yeah, make a motion.
It is
to-
interesting sometimes.
Make a motion to continue 8 Columbia Street and 10 Minor Avenue to our next meeting on March 6th.
Can I ask for a second?
Second.
Second by Danny. Do I need a roll call? Danny, do you vote to continue the meeting?
Yes.
And should I do every, just, yeah.
Everybody.
Rod, do you vote to continue the meeting? I say yes.
Yes.
Glenn, do you vote to continue the meeting?
Thumbs up. He gave us a thumbs up. He said-
Okay, I can't say the same up there. Who do you have left? Jamie, do you vote to continue the public meeting?
I do, sir.
And Steve, do you vote to continue the public meeting?
I do.
Charlie?
Yes.
And I do as well. It's unanimous. We hope to see you in person next meeting. Thank you. That's it, right?
Oh, geez, I didn't make the minutes. Why didn't I?
How many do we have going back?
Yeah, I'm going back to the agenda. Okay, so the next
Oh,
item.
do we need to continue that? Oh, Crosby, okay, we do have another item of business.
The next item on your agenda is 14 Crosby Lane, which you may recall was to a request to renew an expired, previously approved LAA. We have not received any testimony on this particular public hearing since we opened it several months ago. I have not heard from Attorney Hausler on this. He was representing the applicants. You may recall the last time we heard from Attorney Hausler was in November, when he asked for a continuation of the November meeting and asked for it to be continued until January. We did continue this item last month, and we had not heard from him, and no one showed up for the public hearing. I have reached out a couple times since our last meeting. I still have not heard back from Attorney Hausler, and I've left emails and voicemail. But at this point, I just want to point out that it's a bit of a moot point because LAAs are no longer part of our bylaw. As of a week ago, Monday, January 27th, there was a special town meeting in which the LAA bylaw was removed from our zoning bylaw and it has been replaced with the ADU, which is now the mandated state law. So,
See how that goes.
yeah, so a suggestion would be to close the hearing, since we haven't received any testimony up to this point, and it's no longer valid, the request. The board may want to make a vote to determine that.
Does that make sense, that we would vote to,
Oh, may I add, I apologize. The last time we did hear from Attorney Hausler in November, when he asked for the continuation until January, he gave us an extension to act only until March 1st. So that extension will expire by our next meeting. Therefore, it will no longer be valid, so the board needs to act on it tonight.
Couldn't we just make a motion to say, to determine, based on new state legislation, this application now becomes invalid and move from there?
I believe so. Yes.
What-
You s-
is
but
your-
you
is
still-
that okay?
There's another question on that, and that is that it was passed by town meeting. It was basically the state's agenda with a couple of caveats that were requested by the planning board. Am I correct that once the town meeting approves that, it has to go back to the state for their approval of the caveats?
The Attorney General has to approve it regardless, but the caveats would be included in that.
So that it's kind of, the whole thing is still kind of in limbo for the town.
Well,
If they come back with the state, matching the state rules, but they don't match the rules that are tentative with Chelmsford, that leaves us kind of in the middle of things.
The additional adjustments we want to be applicable to Chelmsford are in limbo, but we still, our LAA laws are out and we still have to apply by state.
But Chelmsford has also added changes to the state.
We can't, right, we can't enforce those until those are approved by the state.
Right, so we would be making a decision.
Solely on the
Make a
state.
decision based on what the state says,
So
but
just-
later, the Attorney General says that Chelmsford's changes are valid, and there is something in the applicants, what they want to do that matches, doesn't match what Chelmsford's now is after the Attorney General has approved it. We're kind of stuck in the middle.
Which
If I may?
kind of lends to deny. We just deny the application. If they wish to bring another one forward, they can, but we don't have permission to continue this past March
March
1st. We're meeting March
Right.
6th.
Mr. Chairman.
So
I'm
we can
just
deny
talking
it
in
and
general.
just move
Someone
on.
came before
There'd
us.
be no
And
consequence.
may I also clarify a couple of other things? The reason why Attorney Hausler, once this was, the public hearing had opened and he initially requested continuations, is because I brought to his attention that the previously approved LAA did not conform with our LAA bylaw standards, which had been amended, I think, after that LAA was approved. And so he was going to look into potential adjustments, and Jose may be able to speak more to this. But that was part of why it was continued. We were waiting on revisions to the actual floor plan and attachment to the main dwelling. And so at this point, because the state mandate as it is outrules our former bylaw, the board doesn't have a basis to renew a previously approved special permit. However, this may now be by right as of the state mandate.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, so I had a similar situation last week, and on a previous approved special permit for an NLA, like Becky stated, for any new application, this is my understanding, after the 27th of last month, for LLA, they shouldn't be accepted. My understanding is that any special permit approved by the board that is pending is valid. So, similar situation, this board approved 2 years ago a special permit for an LLA, and the person took all this time to, submit paperwork and plans. But as we all know, we already under the new bylaw. So Evan and I discussed it, and it was determined that the application was submitted, and the board has issued a special permit. So it was deemed valid. So this one, to me, coming into this meeting, I was thinking that this one is the same thing, that the board has already approved this special permit, but the only thing the person wants to do is to have it reapproved.
Right, because theirs actually expired, they didn't act on it. They didn't act on it. This one was actually,
And I think if it's expired, they're getting issued a new special permit, so it falls under the new statutes of what's in time now. Because once it's expired, don't they fall in anything applicable at time of at the new permit?
Yeah, that's something,
If the laws change after it expires, they've got to follow any new laws that are applicable at the time they're applying for the new permit. Wouldn't that not be
I think
correct?
the laws are going to work in their
Yes.
favor. in
It
this
expired
anyway.
in 2018.
I was thinking about that too, that if they resubmit.
It's a wiser choice to just wait.
They're better off now.
And he hasn't made, if we don't do anything.
Right.
It's expiring on March 1st anyway.
Yes, sir.
So we can,
Correct.
so if we vote
The
to
permit
close the
expired in
meeting.
2018. It's not like it expired 3 months ago.
Right.
It's expired years ago.
But the application for this was not 18. This was
Right,
November.
but
It was-
they're asking to renew an expired, or previously expired permit that was issued.
And that's what I think I meant. I think I was basing my comments on the resubmission of the application, because like,
Right, that was November, yeah.
right, it was 2018 when they got the special permit, but they did resubmit an application to reinstate that special permit prior to the, January 27.
Right, I don't think we'd be doing any harm to close and then deny the application. And it's not going to be an application in 20 days anyways, and we've received no instructions to continue it. We're not meeting again before the 1st, so this is our last time to act at all, and we can just leave it. I mean, we don't have to do this. But I think it's in everybody's best interest to have closure for this, and if they decide they want to reapply for the for
For the ADU,
ADU, they can,
they
right?
fall under the new bylaw, yeah.
I mean, I think that was going to be the case regardless, because this is unattached, correct?
This one it is, yeah?
Yeah, so that would make it illegal as an LLA, but legal as an ADU.
It's an ADU.
So it's in their best interests.
I agree.
Okay. Does the board on Zoom have any other thoughts on this?
I just had a quick question. I'm not up to date on what our bylaw change was from what was added within our ADU. Would it require them coming to the zoning board?
An ADU does
generally.
not require the Board of Appeals, no.
Okay, so then us denying the permit, they wouldn't even have to come back before us. It's a whole different process, so our denial wouldn't even matter.
Right, as long as they didn't have other requests that created a special permit
Yeah.
or a variance.
Life.
But
Okay.
either way, an ADU or an LLA, it's going to be the same thing. They would have to come to us if they made, the setback and everything else that we still have purview over.
Yeah.
Because I know we didn't change the setbacks at all. I don't know everything the town meeting did, but the setbacks will remain the same for any structure, pool, garage, anything.
Okay.
May I ask just one general question, not specific to this, but generally? We have a number of LAAs in town at this point. And, I attended the planning board's meetings, and it never seemed to come out definitively whether or not existing LAAs could petition to be considered now ADUs.
Oh, they are by right.
Well, it was never specifically said that they are all, if we had 25 or 100 of them in Chelmsford, that they are all now ADUs. Will they be required to come to our board for that, or simply say that they have the right, the right to be called ADUs on their own?
I would think so.
Glenn, you bring up a good question. I actually added in a portion for our board discussion on the update to the ADU and where we stand. If we could discuss the current bylaw and where we stand and just make the motion to close this out so that we stay on topic, if that's
Sure.
okay.
Close this out and
But
we'll go
come
into
back
the
to your
general
question.
discussion.
That would be.
Sure.
Okay. Any further questions, comments? So I suggest we close the public meeting for, I don't even know what street this is.
14 Crosby Lane.
That's right.
And I can pull up the letter with the, just reiterating, one moment, that This was the last extension to act we received through March 1st, so the board needs to take action today.
Like to make a motion to close the public hearing for 14 Crosby Lane.
I second the motion.
Second by Jamie. I'm going to do a roll call. Danny, do you approve the motion?
Yes.
Steve, do you approve the motion?
Yes.
Glenn, do you approve the motion?
Yes.
Rod, do you approve the motion?
Affirmative.
And Jamie, do you approve the motion?
Yes.
Charlie, do you approve the motion? And I approve the motion. Now, if I get a motion to deny, or actually, a motion in the affirmative for 14 Crosby Lanes, we have to go in the affirmative, right? So we would
Yes.
get a motion in the affirmative for 14 Crosby Lane.
Before we do that, wouldn't it be better if we just let it like fall by the wayside and not vote, or?
No, because then it's approved, right?
Yeah, because then it's
That's
approved.
true, yes. It
Then-
would automatically be approved.
So
Constructive
we're doing
approval.
No action is approved. Silence is consensus.
Okay. Okay.
no. It sounds like you want to
I'll
make a
make-
motion.
Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve 14 Crosby Lane for the requesting of a renewal of an expired previously approved special permit under section 195-6.1 with all previous letters and testimony submitted.
I second.
Second by Steve.
I'm-
Danny,
May I just clarify? There was no testimony, there were no letters read into the record, because we never had testimony on this.
okay.
So I just want to clarify that with the
We'll
motion.
leave that out of the
Um,
motion.
Yeah, leave
Oh.
that out, or the board may want to decide to not grant it based on the fact that there was no
So
testimony.
the comments and the letters from DPW and stuff, those weren't read in last time?
No.
I thought we read that stuff. I thought we
No.
read those letters.
We were always asked to continue without discussion, so everything was posted on the agenda, but we've never discussed this,
Good reason.
this
My mistake. I
property. So
can-
you may actually want to make a motion
Yeah.
Yep.
to
My
state that
apologies.
that's
I
the
thought we
reason
were-
why. Yeah.
I will amend my motion, making a motion to approve 14 Crosby Lane, requesting the renewal of an expired previously approved special permit. There's been no discussion and no response after the request for initial extensions.
Can we add that we have to act during this meeting based on the fact that the extensions run out on March 1st?
No,
Yes.
we can even put a little caveat to explain that. that whole
So
thing.
just to clarify, is this a motion in the affirmative, or?
The motion is in
All
the
our motions have to
affirmative.
go in the affirmative.
It's got to be in the affirmative. It has to be presented that way.
Can we make an exception?
Why?
I'm just asking.
You have to vote to
You vote
deny if
yes
you're
or no,
not
but
in
the motion
favor
has
of
to
it.
be affirmative.
Why change it? It's the way it's always been.
I second her motion.
Have a second from Steve? Danny, do you approve the motion?
No.
Stephen, do you approve the motion?
I do not.
Glenn, do you approve the motion?
No.
Rod, do you approve the motion?
Oh.
And Jamie, do you approve the motion?
I do not.
Charlie, do you approve the motion?
No, I vote no.
And I vote no as well. It's unanimously denied.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
I think we handled that right. I have to tell you, it's a difficult
I think there's
transition.
always exceptions, Brian, that's all.
Just somewhere in the notes, I'd like it to, just show that we were at the
Obligated.
point where an action had to be taken
Yes,
based on the
so I will write a
time.
decision like I do for any other special permit, and in the findings, this is a little bit different in that there was no testimony, so I will put that in the findings. There was no testimony. The extension to act was
Expired.
expiring,
Yeah.
and that we had not had any representation or had heard in the past 2 months,
And
so.
if you have concerns, you can forward him that, and before you get to me, and just make
Yes.
sure it says what he wants him to say.
Yep,
No, I'm fine with it. I just want to make
Okay.
sure if this comes back, it's like, yeah,
right,
something
right.
opened, no one ever said anything, and they left it alone, and time was running out. We had to vote.
Yep.
Right. So I will list that in the findings to
Yep.
justify why you all voted no. Because with every decision, we have to spell out reasons why folks the members are in favor or not in favor of a project moving forward, so that it's clarified. That way, if it's appealed, it's
Yes.
well understood why the vote went the way it went.
Yep.
Can we also add in there lack of information,
Yes.
just to cover?
Yep. Lack of information, lack of testimony, and expiration of time to act.
That sounds like a good enough reason to me.
Okay.
All right, I think I'll let Becky take the helm and tell us what went on at
Let me just go
the
back to
town
the
meeting.
Do we have
agenda.
Town meeting?
Do we have to say anything about the other two continued things?
We still have to
Yes.
vote on those.
Yeah, we're still on the agenda. One moment.
Okay.
So,
What am I doing?
Mr. Chair, the next item is the continuation of Morose Ave, the 40B project, Cobblestone 5. And the applicant requested a continuation without discussion. The reason being, I did attach the letter. The reason being, though, just to clarify, is that our office is still in waiting for receipt of requests for proposals for our third-party review. I believe that expires tomorrow, the deadline for RFPs. Therefore, the town nor the applicant had any update for the board tonight, because we're still trying to set up the third-party consultant. Just to clarify, that's the reason why. So the board would need to make a motion and vote on a continuation until March 6th.
And are we okay with the time with them?
Yes. Yep, we did receive an extension to act on this as well.
Let it rip, Charlie.
In fact, I will bring up that letter. The request was, I just pulled it up on the board, the request was to continue from today until March 6th, and to allow time for the parties to reach a third party. The previous letter I received from council did give us an extension to act, and I will follow through next month with the date, but we're still within that time period.
I'll make
I
a motion.
believe, so I was gonna say, I believe I'm off that one, right?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
So the voting members for this, I believe, are the chair, Brian, Charlie, Jamie did a Mullen affidavit, and Danny is the alternate on this case, and Peter is not here today, but he's a voting member.
Okay. I'll make a motion to continue Monroe Ave to our next meeting on March 6th.
I second the motion.
Okay, I'm going to do a roll call. Danny, are you in favor of continuing?
Yes.
Stephen, are you in favor of continuing?
I think I abstain.
He has to abstain because he's not a
Oh, I'm
voting
sorry.
member
Yep,
on the public
yep.
hearing.
Glenn, are you in favor of continuing?
Non-member, I abstain also.
Right, he's abstaining, as is Rod, so it would be Peter and then the two of you.
Okay, Peter's not here.
Peter's not here.
Danny votes. Jamie votes because she was a Mullen. Jamie, are you in favor of doing whatever
I
we're
am.
doing? Continuing the
Yes.
public meeting?
Yes.
And Charlie's also in favor, as am I.
And for the record, I think Rod has been here for all of those, so he can still act as an alternate if needed.
Okay.
Yeah, I
Since
thought I
it's just
was.
Yes, Rod qualifies as an alternate if needed.
So we have one more of those, Brian.
Right, Ledge Road is asking a continuance for their administrative appeal under zoning bylaw, section 195-102B, of a cease and desist order issued by the building commissioner relative to the use of Ledge Road for commercial vehicles and any other relief deemed necessary. And they have a request for continuation without discussion. If I could get a motion for that.
So we have the time for this also, Becky? We're all set?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. I'll make a
make
motion.
a-
Oh, go ahead. Go right ahead, Jamie.
Whoever wants to
I'll
make
make
the
a
motion.
motion to continue Ledge Road till March 6th.
Second.
Second by Charlie. And we still have Danny
Yes.
Danny, are you in favor?
Yes.
Stephen is as well, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Stephen is, and he is yes.
Yes.
Glenn
Yes.
and Rod
Yes.
and Jamie
Yes.
and Charlie,
Yes.
and I hate Zoom, but I am in favor.
And I hate Zoom.
Can we ask Jamie again? I like when we double check with Jamie, so I feel like I know.
Okay, so now we are gonna hear some input from Becky on the town meeting the other night and the special town meeting.
Yes, and I apologize when updating the agenda, I did not include the ADU bylaw that was voted on, so I will go ahead and forward that to all of you tomorrow, make a note for myself to do that, if you haven't seen it yet. So town meeting did vote in favor of creating the ADU bylaw, so that, which puts us in compliance with the state mandate, and does remove the LAA bylaw previously existed, removes that. And I believe the discussion was that the existing permitted LAAs automatically become ADUs, and Jose may want to speak more to that. And then, so from here on out, as the state mandated, if a proposal for an ADU falls within all zoning requirements, it is as of right and goes directly to the building department.
Again, our only input would be almost dimensional.
Yeah, it seems to be that, now people have the right to have it detached. The owners don't have to live in it, in any of the units. It could go into 2 families, multi-families. People can get more than one with a special permit.
You could have 2 with a special permit?
I believe the way the bylaw was written is that our town will not allow a second one. I didn't check all the changes that they made. The state mandate was that you can have 1 ADU by right, and if someone wanted a second ADU, it would require a special permit via the Board of Appeals, but I think the way it was written, I can look it up on my computer, I don't think that they voted to allow that for this town as far as our bylaw, and that might be what Glenn was referencing too, is some of the differences, because that was discretional based on each municipality. Do you have it on you, Jose?
Oh, was it?
Change I recall that we did. I don't recall any other changes.
There were 2 other changes from the state. One was no curb cuts for an ADU,
Oh, I remember that.
and the other one was that ADUs could not be located in the front yard.
That was the one I had the
Correct.
question on, yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Is that proud of the building at all? Is that what that amounts to? It has to be at the front of the building and behind. That was their,
They didn't define what was considered front of the building. You could have some lots where it's really, you can make the case that it's beside, it's not in front of the unit.
The front, I'm sorry, Mr.
you
Glenn.
have some clarity, that'd be great.
Yeah, so the front yard, the way we do it now, for example, we don't allow pools, accessory structures in front of the house.
Garages, pool
It is the same,
The front of the house is considered the edge of the front
Right.
of the property.
Yes,
The
sir.
The farthest front point.
right.
Okay.
So ADUs are not allowed in front of a single-family dwelling or the main dwelling home.
Correct.
So,
And corner lots have 2 frontages, and that's another thing to keep in mind.
right. And so as far as the second ADU, did you? we did not
Mr.
have
Chairman,
that
I
in-
thought I had read something on the revised ADUs by the planning board, but I think Becky can maybe
It would be a
find
special permit from the planning board for a second ADU.
for a second. That was my understanding, but we can verify that, clarify.
I just
Would-
And I
Is
wanted
it,
to start on the 3 front, I know, hopefully we're able to apply some common sense. For lots that have 2 frontages, are they, is if the ADU is visible or parallel to the front of the house, are we allowing that or no?
Not a visible issue, it's the front of the house. Is it proud of that? Does it come into the front yard, which is the edge of the house? So you could see it.
Lots with two frontages, so, I mean, we're making sure like the front door, right? So I just, how are they
Well, it's
defining?
the setback is important as well. The frontage is usually a larger setback.
Right,
than
and
the
but
rear and side.
we've done lots that have two frontages, so we've made them, that's why we have those lots that get the variance, because they're considered two frontages, and they have to have 40 on both sides, because they're considered two frontages, so.
What,
Correct,
what
so,
if you have, if all existing LAAs are now ADUs, but some of them have separate driveways and some of them are in the front yard, where does that all stand?
Well, they wouldn't be allowed to have a new curb cut.
Right.
The
No,
law was
you have
created.
one now, and they're not, as an ADU, they're not supposed to have one.
I would assume it's a pre-existing non-conforming now.
Right.
Right, that
Like
would
any
be
other-
my guess too.
Well, they're liable to be visiting us.
Well, and
I think there's gonna be a lot of legal going on the next couple of years with this, while they sort it all out. The guy that wants to have the property with two frontages, and he can't put it there or there, he has a legitimate hardship. Is that gonna get him a variance so he can put it somewhere? It's all gonna have to, be tested case by case, which is what we do.
You have what's historically called retreat lots. Let's say you had 5 acres and you decided to place your main home years ago way at the back with a long driveway coming
The rear
in.
lot.
So now you have 4 acres in front of you. Someone's liable to make a claim that, I want to put it out there because that's where all the land is.
But the frontage still wouldn't allow them to do that, because a rear lot typically does not have 150 feet of frontage. But if you well, no, because the ADU has to be less than 900 feet. So the main house could not be considered the ADU, and another one built in front of it and have the smaller size. The ADU is required to have the 900 feet or less. I suppose if your house had less than 900 feet, you might have an argument, but it would still have to meet all the setbacks, including frontage. Now, does a rear lot require frontage? Yes, but it doesn't, it has to be, 50 feet wide, a rear lot? At no point it can be less than 50 feet wide. And then that 50 foot is your entrance to your rear lot that opens up in the back. But you
Right.
wouldn't have a room to put a house there. I mean, I guess we're just gonna have to wait on the ones that come in front of us and, step by step go through them.
Yeah, because there's going to be many of these that no one can see a situation that would normally occur.
You can
all of
anticipate
these.
some of them, but the reality of them will be different.
The main direction that the planning board was trying to avoid is that they were afraid that this was going to make Chelmsford look like Somerville, that we're going to have 2 families everywhere in town. And, the case could be looked at in terms of what the state has come down is almost the same that Westford has had for years. And Westwood doesn't look like Somerville with all 2 families. And
I don't
it's
disagree.
probably not going to happen in Chelmsford, but there will be more of them, especially since they can be rented out. They don't have to be torn down. The investment that people make in these units is a good investment for future years, even after the loved ones have moved on. So I'm sure Jose is going to be very busy.
Job security, yes.
The way I'm looking at this is to apply the same logic we are using now in the previous bylaw. The only thing is that the ADUs now can be detached. They are greater in square footage. That kind of logic that now they can be rented. The owner doesn't have to live in either of them. And I think it's easier because the lot coverage and FAR and all that's just, we still
Will apply, all the dimensional requirements. And I think that's when the Board of Appeals is gonna see them, when people try to get a special permit or a variance to increase what they're doing. But there are protections in place, I think, that'll make it a challenge for every lot, but some lots are just made for it, so. We'll see how that goes.
He also defined, it didn't come up much in the discussion, but in the state, and the building, planning board didn't have any objections to it. The state definition of how you determine the size was that the square footage, it was the smaller of 900 square feet or 50% of the existing structure. But they included in the existing structure, the basement as square footage area. So if you had, let's say, a 300 square foot house and 300 for an upstairs, that's 9. And then you added 300 for the basement. That would make 9 or whatever the case may be.
Right,
They
it would defer to
included the
9 to
basement
be
as
as
part
big
of the
as it
square
could be.
footage.
You're saying that they excluded the basement or included?
No, they included
Oh,
it.
they included the
didn't
basement,
define
yes.
it as developed or unfinished. They just said the basement area is included
But you're still not getting
in
any
the
bigger than
gross square
900.
footage.
I thought, I'm sorry, Glenn, can you clarify that? You said that they excluded the basement?
Included.
The basement is included,
Included, okay, thank you.
yes, included in the gross square footage, determining the 50%.
So if the house was 1,500 square feet, 50% would be 750. But if you include the basement, maybe then they get closer to that 900.
Right, but they can't go over 900.
Right, ever. And is there an
Right.
appeals process for us for that, for 900?
No.
Or that's it? 900. There's no special permit, there's no.
Well,
Oh.
that hasn't
avenue
really been
of-
determined, has it?
That unit's gonna be 900 feet.
So if,
I
yeah,
think, yeah, I think it is in the state 760 CMR, but I didn't see it on
The LLA is 750, but we didn't change that at the meeting.
Well, one of the things
Our
at town meeting,
LLA was 750, now it's gone to 900.
Right.
by the
that's
state
right.
mandate, yeah.
Or the smaller number could be, if it was a 1,500 square foot house, including the basement, 750.
Correct.
If it was a 1,500 square foot house and without the basement, then you added the basement size in, you would get to 2,100, and that would get you to the 900. So they increased they basically said that most ADUs are gonna be 900 feet if you choose to make them as that, but they won't be bigger.
It seemed that the putting the 900 square feet was their way of getting around any arguments that a 5,000 square foot house at 50% would be
A 2,500
a building in LAA of, an enormous LAA, which, people in smaller houses couldn't do.
Right.
So by capping it 900, they tried to level the playing field.
Yep, that makes sense.
but we still don't have the final language. One of the
Right,
things, the
we're-
state-
We're still
One
a
of the
ways
things
from
the
having a
state said-
distinct, it'll be a year from now. All the legal challenges will come out, there'll be a lot of stuff. I'm curious, Jose, will they get around the HERS rating? Because it's not 1,000 square feet.
So a Hertz rating is not a zoning matter, it's a code. So, well, I'm sorry, to respond to your question quick, they wouldn't be required because they are under 1,000 square feet.
It's not a requirement. Yeah.
I apologize, yes.
No, that's okay, I was thinking about it too, just
Yeah.
going.
It was also brought up at the town meeting that they can tie their ADU into a existing septic system tied to the town. Because
So is-
these units would only have 2 bedrooms and they use 110 gallons per day as an average. So building an ADU with 2 bedrooms, it still would be under what the principal house could build onto. And so they could tie them into the existing sewage system, but there was some lack of definition on them, where they exactly tie in, but they can tie in and don't need to put in a septic system of their own.
I think it would have to be a Y out, if they're detached, based on what would happen today, if you were to build, unlikely, a garage detached that had a bathroom in it, that sewer would tie in outside of the main home. That would be the deal today. But we can't have a freestanding structure last week, not to say today. But that's how you would tie that in. You don't take a pipe into a house and then go back out again. There's no avenue for that.
Well, it seemed to be suggested that it was, you had to submit a plan of how you were going to do it, the way you were
think
going to
that'd be
do it.
the correct, and engineering would approve it. But if you try to go out of a building, back into a building, you really can't do that now. It's
Well,
very
if they build
problematic.
if they build their ADU attached to the existing structure,
Then that could attach inside the home because you're not
Right.
leaving the structure.
Right.
Detached would be a different, and they'll figure it out too. They'll get their laws and rules, and that's how you have to do it to comply. But I don't think they want sewage going out of the house and then back into it. Or coming from out of the house and then going back into it. They would like the Y in the front yard or wherever is appropriate, and you connect up 2 6-inch pipes. The trick is that in the house, it's PVC and 4-inch. Outside the house, it's PVC 6-inch. So you would go to a 6-inch to be compliant outside, and if you went back into the home, you'd have to go back to 4, and now you're having a 6-inch pipe feed a 4-inch pipe, which never have, it can't. And then again, it would have to grow outside of the house again. So that really wouldn't happen, I think.
I'm sure we'll see some unusual ones come
Yeah,
along.
it's new territory for sure. I bet you Jose is reading a lot.
I've been reading a lot.
I think so, yeah.
Everybody is.
A lot to take in.
We are not the only ones. I speak to other commissioners and inspectors. Everybody's in the same boat.
I imagine there'll be a few seminars on this as well when it gets rolling.
As a matter of fact, I'm going to one next week.
Yeah, yeah. Not a surprise.
So I want to apologize if I misspoke. I was trying to speed read through the bylaw. I am going to forward that on to all of you. That part might have been omitted before the final draft that went to town meeting, and I apologize. I've seen so many different versions of it, I lost
Yeah,
track.
yeah.
So
That's
that
okay,
part
yeah.
that I was speaking of may have been omitted already. So the bottom line is that non-conforming proposals for single-family dwellings and two-family dwellings, if it's not as of right, the way it's written, it will come to this board. We just don't have any further regulations yet from the state that let us know
To enforce.
how to enforce that and how to proceed. So we're still a little bit in limbo, but to be continued.
Yep.
Yep.
To be continued.
Mm-hmm. And I can keep this on the agenda moving forward, just so that if there
I
are
think
any
that'd be a good
updates,
idea
we
for
can,
updates
yeah,
and such.
we can keep it on there. Okay.
Meeting minutes. Has anyone read the meeting minutes?
Before the minutes, we have to confirm our schedule dates. That was the other part of the discussion item for today. I had emailed all of you with the list of dates, and I just need to apologize for turning my back on you. I need to grab the sheet out of my bin.
Those are good, right? March
And
6th,
did-
April 3rd. March 6th, April 3rd. The next meeting.
That's what I believe it is, yes.
Mar- March 6th.
I have no conflict.
April 3rd.
So April, so you may recall I sent an email at the beginning of the month listing our regular first Thursdays of the month. Obviously, we already had January, today's February, March, there's no issue. For the month of April, we need to reschedule April due to the fact that the Select Board has April 3rd pre-scheduled for their organization meeting following town vote. And there's a potential for a room meeting conflict if that meeting runs over. So I was asked to either reschedule. We can, and I did look at the calendar. The 10th is available if the majority of the board members are available, if you want to reschedule to the 10th. But we were advised by town manager's office not to keep it as April 3rd.
That sound good?
It does
the
take
10th?
time to set up the
Anyone
room
that
in
has a
between
conflict
meetings,
with
and
that?
we want to make sure of that.
10 should be good.
10th works for Jamie.
Okay.
Yes, fine.
Okay.
Yeah, it works for me.
I'm good.
Stephen? Okay.
Okay, so
Rod, I
April
think
10th?
Rod's hand was up too, so it looks like, yep, majority can do
You
it, so.
can't, you can't hear me?
We didn't hear
No, we
that,
can't.
but I heard what you just said.
Okay, because I've been unmuted the whole time, so.
We're hearing you clearly now. We didn't hear your,
Okay.
it might have just been someone else spoke and you, I think it cuts out if
Yeah,
one
it
person is
does.
speaking.
Yeah.
So you may have spoke at the same time.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know what happened. Okay,
I'll
so
go
now
ahead
we're
and
looking at
reschedule that to
May.
the
Do you want to get the whole thing squared away?
Right. May 1st.
May 1st,
is our
May
regular
Day?
meeting.
May Day,
You
good.
got the poll thing going? Are you able to do that too?
The poll thing. Yeah,
May
I do.
Day?
I do May Day poll, correct.
Okay.
I might not be able to attend May 1st. I believe there's a school function that night, but I can ask and see if
Oh, we can
someone
live
else
without
can.
her.
I don't want the board to have to reschedule on my behalf. I can ask Evan if he can fill in for me that day.
Oh, okay.
But I was just made aware of that earlier today, that May 1st is a school presentation for one of my kids
Excellent.
for that night. Yeah, it's a big deal. So for now, we can keep that on, if that's okay, and I will just make sure that there's coverage in terms of managing the meeting, especially if we're on Zoom.
Do you want to go through the year?
We can do the rest, yeah.
Okay.
That would be good.
So June would be a Thursday, June 5th.
Okay.
I'm good.
Are most people planning out their Thursdays that far in advance? Because
Yeah,
I'm
that's
just going to
kinda
say
far.
yes to anything.
Well,
Because I'm like, I
so-
have no idea.
Me too.
I'm planned out through till next September, so.
Yeah, there were only, there were 3 dates that were in question. It was April 3rd, July 3rd, because of the 4th of July holiday, and then August, because for the
We're not
last
doing
few
the
years,
August.
we've recessed in August. But the reason being is that as the town is actually about to roll out a revised website come April, we're being asked, all the boards are being asked to post all of our meeting dates on our individual pages in advance so people can see them. We can certainly, I can go in afterwards and change it.
Make changes. and
Yeah,
adjustments.
and we'll certainly have in there that we typically meet the first Thursday of the month. But if the board is ready to go through the summer and just confirm, and then we can, take it from there, I'll post the dates, and of course, it's always, there's always a potential for a change, but.
So July becomes a question.
That's 10th, right?
The 10th would be the 2nd. The 3rd is probably not a good day to have a meeting. So the 10th would be the next one.
What's wrong with the 3rd? Just because it's the
No.
day before the 4th?
I get
I
really
won't be
nervous
here.
around fireworks. so
Fireworks.
I don't want to be barking at the door.
And that's also the fair for,
That's
Right,
correct.
the concert,
country
right?
fair. The
Yeah.
country
Country
fair.
fair and concert,
Country
yeah.
fair.
10.
I'll be away virtually the whole month of July.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm good.
Do you want me to see if we have room availability for the 10th, and I'll go ahead
Oh,
and
yeah,
and
yeah.
schedule that? Because really, that's what it comes down to. If we need to reschedule, it's room availability. Because right now, I just have the first Thursday of every month pre-scheduled, where the
Right.
room's
I mean,
reserved.
That's kind of my math.
So
too.
I'll look at, July 10th?
July 10th.
Okay.
I probably won't be here I'd probably be involved with an activity for the 3rd if the country fair goes as it does, so.
Okay,
I think the 10th is great.
okay.
10th is perfect.
And then August.
So we're
gonna
agreed
take
on the
a,
10th?
holiday?
All right.
I didn't hear. I'm sorry.
August, we're gonna have a holiday?
That, I'll leave
If
that
it
up to all of
works,
you.
if it works.
Okay.
If you schedule it, it works.
Yes. Yes.
So maintain August as the recess month?
Yes.
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 Because my question was, did you want to maintain August or take it in July? So, okay, that clarifies.
I'm open to taking it in July too, but I think, not also, either or, but I think that
Yeah.
August is nice.
People are ready for that.
Okay.
It's a quiet month atypically. You're either building already or you're not, and, it just, it seems to be a good fit.
Okay.
And that would take us to September, which is the 4th of September. Any concerns?
I'm good.
7 o'clock.
Fine.
I'm good.
I'm great.
Ah, there you go.
And I have to roll each month too, so
Could
get
be
ready.
great.
Okay, so there's September,
And then the October 2nd?
Now, mind you, school calendar is not out for the new year yet, so
Correct.
pending school calendar, I'm good.
Yep. And then it would be November 6th and December 4th, which is our usual first Thursday.
Those are fine.
And of course, we can always change them later on if we find that there's a
Yeah, if
conflict.
something goes
It's just a
on, it
matter
changes.
of
It
room
changes.
reservations for now.
That's the 6th of November. That's what I'm perfectly fine.
Do you want these, Becky? Back in your,
Yes, thank you. I'll put those in the file.
And we've already gone through another year. See how quick that goes?
that was enough. 1 year's enough.
Blink and it's over.
It's true, too. That's December 4th, right?
Yes, December 4th.
All right, well, I thank you all for your time.
Thank you.
I hope we can get together next month rather than this.
Meeting
I do
minutes?
I did read the meeting minutes.
Meeting minutes?
Meeting minutes?
Thought they were fine the way they were written.
We have an error with last month's.
Yes, we did, I think. Go ahead and
What'd
point
you
it out.
find?
I abstained from our first hearing, and you have me approving a motion.
Oh, okay. Okay. For that first one, all right. Oh. Let's see, that was, thank you. I will correct that.
Yep, and you have me a motion approved by Brown for the 17 Crab Apple Lane.
Oh, okay. Thank you. I'm not sure how that happened, but I appreciate you saying that because I do remember putting at the top that you had recused yourself.
I did.
Okay.
That's what I got.
AI. And I missed it.
They do that.
Okay. Was that the only edit needed for January?
That's the only big one I saw.
Okay.
I wasn't here for the November one, so in December, and it's nothing in December popped out.
Mm-hmm. Did anyone else have any edits for any of those?
No.
I don't see anything.
Nope.
Did I have, want to do them en masse?
Hmm?
You want to do them all in one, or you want 3 approvals?
Take a long time going through everybody. But whatever.
Excuse me. So could I get a motion to approve the 11/7/24 minutes?
I'll
The
make a motion to
12, do you want 3 motions?
Sure. Either way, we could do it all at once, given that we only received edits with the mention that the edits are for the January minutes.
Okay, so 11/7/24, 12/5/24.
Is everybody able to vote on all 3 sets? That's the only question.
I'm not able to vote on November's.
Jamie can't vote on them, so we do
okay.
have to do them separately.
Could I have a motion for 11/7/24 to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Second.
Danny,
Danny and Rod?
And Rod?
Thank you.
So Jamie, do you approve the roll, the minutes? For 11, Jamie's the one that can't for this
Right.
one, right?
Yep.
I'm sorry. Glenn, do you approve the minutes?
Yes,
11-7. Rod, do you approve the minutes for 11-7?
Yes.
Stephen, do you approve the minutes for 11-7?
Yes.
And Danny, do you approve the minutes for 11-7?
Yes.
And Charlie, do you approve the
Yes.
minutes for 11?
Yes.
I approve as well.
Great, thank you.
Jamie, do you approve the minutes for, actually,
Now
I
we
need a
can motion
motion.
for,
Yeah,
we can make a motion for 12 and 1 together, I believe.
okay. I get a motion
a
for
motion.
12 and 1 together?
Make a motion to approve minute meetings for 12, December 1st, December 5th, and January 2nd with the aforementioned correction for the January 2nd, 2025 minutes.
I'll take the second on that.
Okay, Rod. Okay, Danny, do you approve the motion?
Yes.
Jamie, do you approve the motion?
I do.
Glenn, do you approve the motion?
yes,
Rod, do you approve the motion?
Yes.
Steve, do you approve the motion?
Yes, sir.
Charlie, do you approve the motion?
Yes.
Brian also approves the motion.
Wow.
Thank
One
you all.
last motion to get rid of Zoom forever.
I motion that we get rid of Zoom.
Can we do Teams?
Yep.
Instagram?
Is that a real motion?
Make a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to.
Wordle?
That's not.
We don't need a second. I guess I'll do a roll, though. Danny, do you approve the motion?
Yes.
Jamie, do you approve the motion?
I do.
Glenn, do you approve the motion?
yes.
Rod, do you approve the motion?
Yes.
And Steve, do you approve the motion?
Yes.
Charlie, do you approve the motion?
Adjourn.
I also do
Be
as
the
well.
motion? I'm sorry. Motion to adjourn was Jamie?
Jamie, yeah.
Yes,
Jamie, I
thank
believe.
you. At 9:10.
JD looks anxious.
You could announce that we have now adjourned for telemedia.
Yeah.
The Board of Appeals is now adjourned.
Good night.